But now for more on the hate laws and Australia's Jewish community push for stronger measures to deal with the Bondi terror attack. The main argument from the nation's top imams and even the government's own Islamophobia envoy is that this legislation on hate speech risks discriminating against Muslims. Well, does it? Here to discuss this and more, former Prime Minister of Australia, Tony Abbott. Tony, welcome. Just before we get into the detail of the laws before the Parliament, do we need more hate laws, or do you think we have the laws right now, we just don't have the political will to enforce them?
I think that's a very good point, Peter. I just don't trust this government when it comes to combating Jew hatred. I think Susan Lee was right when she said that from the very beginning, the government has treated this as a political problem to be managed, not a moral evil to be eradicated. They can't tell us, even now, exactly what is hate speech under these laws, exactly who are the hate groups and the hate preachers under these laws. And if they can't tell us what these laws will actually do, it's very hard to believe how they're going to make any difference. And that's the test. Are these laws going to change the climate of anti-Semitism that's afflicted this country over the last 2 years? And the final point I'd make, Peter, is that laws that are revised on the run and passed in haste are normally bad laws.
So are they trying to get rid of a political problem and bowling this into the courts to make this something for the courts to solve, to get it off the agenda? Is that what it is?
Look, I spoke to one of my former colleagues today and I said, so what actual hate speech will be stopped by these laws? And he said that he'd asked the briefer from the Attorney General's Department that very question and had been told by the senior official that's all up to the courts. Now, as we know, courts can go off on any tangent they like. The unelected and unaccountable judges need a much clearer statement from the elected and accountable parliamentarians of exactly what needs to change, but they're never going to get that from this government.
How come when you were there and Australia was part of a coalition taking on Islamic State in the Middle Eastern theatre of war, how was it you could say the words radical Islam, Islamic extremists, call it out, and no one seems to be able to do that now? I know the coalition's just woken up to it in the last couple of months post-Bondi, but even the coalition, Andrew Hastie and a few others to one side, are unable to say the words. What has happened in Canberra?
Well, the thing we've got to remember is that all of these terrorists, including the terrorists that we've now seen in this country, have committed their atrocities in the name of Islam. And the Islamic leaders are never prepared to take any responsibility for the crimes that are committed in the name of Islam. And this government seems to be absolutely terrified, for all sorts of reasons, mostly political, of getting into a fight with the Islamic community leadership. Now, I'd just like to see if Muslim leaders want to see their religion respected, they'll try to ensure that these crimes are not committed in the name of Islam. And that's the problem. They are being committed in the name of Islam, and it's all very well to say this is a perversion of Islam. Well, the Islamic leadership has got to say that again and again and again and disown the people and the groups that are doing these terrible things, and that's what they just can't do.
Much of this problem's imported, though, let's be honest. And OK, it may not be, and some of these are young kids now born in Australia, but they're coming out of cultures, parents or grandparents, that have imported hatred into this country. So what do we do about immigration?
Well, I think that we've got to have a long, hard look at immigration and multiculturalism policies. And I think we've got to do much more to reiterate the fact that anyone who is coming to this country with hate in their heart should not bother.
If you want to create, in practical terms?
Well, in practical terms, it means that if someone wants a visa to come to this country for the long term, our immigration officials need to actually investigate that individual. And if it's pretty clear from their social media, from their associations, from their profiles, that they support the caliphate, that they want to see Sharia law, well, frankly, don't come here. Go somewhere else.
Even if it's on family reunion?
Even if it's on family reunion.
Good.
I mean, countries have a right, and I would say a duty, to keep their culture. And our culture is broadly Anglo-Celtic. Our ethos is definitely Judeo-Christian. And we can't do anything here in this country that drastically changes that. And if you bring in lots of people who are hostile to the culture, who are hostile to the ethos, obviously you are creating trouble. And if it wasn't obvious before, it is surely obvious since the Bondi massacre that we have created unnecessary trouble for ourselves in this country. And the way forward is to stop doing the things that cause the trouble and with the people who are already in Australia, make it absolutely crystal clear that it's Australian values that can't just be paid lip service to, but they've got to be meant and lived.
I got to go. I'm being told I've got a break, but I tell you what, listening to you now, I think that clarity in your comments exposes why the Libs have got such a problem with One Nation, because they're not clear. Voters are not clear where they stand on the big issues. Just quickly before we go, I know you love to surf. Around where you like to surf, there's been a couple of sharks. What do you think needs to happen there?
Well, plainly, we've got to put people before sharks. And the spate of attacks, 4 in just a few days in Sydney, it hasn't been caused by murky water. It's been caused by too many sharks. So let's have a shark cull, and the best way to do that would be to bring back the commercial shark fishery.
All right, there you go. That'll make news. Thank you, Tony Abbott.